Wuthering Heights. Budget $165 million. Box office $194 million. Estimated loss $165 million. Warner Brothers thought they had a massive hit on their hands with Wuthering Heights. The film starred Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi in what was marketed as a bold, provocative new adaptation of the classic novel. The studio pushed it like a major cinematic event. Warner launched an enormous global marketing campaign that included premieres in Hollywood, the UK, Paris, and Australia. They flew influencers to sets and red carpets, generating social media posts that reached over 70 million followers, the biggest influencer push Warner had ever done for a single film. The problem? They spent $85 million just on marketing. That's more than the $80 million production budget. When you combine production and marketing costs, the movie needed roughly $330 million worldwide just to break even. Opening weekend brought in $37.5 million domestically and $83 million worldwide. That wasn't disastrous, but it also wasn't the breakout success Warner expected after such a huge marketing push. Reviews didn't help either. The film landed at 58% on Rotten Tomatoes, and audience reactions were mixed. Word of mouth faded quickly, leading to a 57% drop in its second weekend. After 3 weeks, the movie had only reached $194 million worldwide, leaving it far short of profitability. Warner is now hoping streaming revenue eventually softens the loss. But in theaters, Wuthering Heights simply couldn't justify its massive marketing gamble. Crime 101. Budget $93 million. Box office $87 million. Estimated loss $140 million. Amazon MGM has been aggressively pushing theatrical releases recently, but Crime 101 became another expensive misfire. The heist thriller starred Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, and Halle Berry, which on paper sounds like a guaranteed crowd pleaser. Instead, audiences barely showed up. The film opened during President's Day weekend, earning just $16 million domestically over 4 days despite playing on more than 3,000 screens. That opening was particularly embarrassing for Chris Hemsworth. It marked his worst domestic debut in 8 years, even lower than Bad Times at the El Royale back in 2018. After 3 weeks, the film had earned $57 million worldwide, nowhere near the estimated $200 million break-even point. What makes the situation even stranger is the film's cost. At $93 million, many viewers wondered where the budget actually went. The movie doesn't feature massive action sequences or heavy visual effects, making the high price tag even harder to justify. But Amazon operates differently than traditional studios. Unlike Warner or Disney, Amazon often views theatrical releases as marketing for their streaming platform. Once the movie lands on Prime Video, the company measures success through subscriptions and streaming engagement. Still, from a theatrical perspective, Crime 101 was a costly flop. How to make a killing? Budget $15 million. Box office $6.3 million. Estimated loss $35 million. For the past couple of years, Hollywood has been searching for the next generation of movie stars. One of the actors many studios believed could carry that torch was Glen Powell. After the success of Top Gun Maverick, Hitman, and Twisters, Powell's career momentum was huge. Studios started betting on him as a future A-list box office draw. Then reality hit. In November, Powell starred in Edgar Wright's The Running Man, which reportedly cost over $110 million but earned only $69 million worldwide. Just 3 months later came How to Make a Killing, a dark comedy from A24. The film starred Powell alongside Margaret Qualley, Ed Harris, and Topher Grace, and had a relatively modest $15 million budget, which is actually high for an A24 film. But even with a wide release across 1,700 theaters, audiences simply didn't care. The movie opened with just $3 million, and reviews were mediocre, landing at 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics said the film couldn't decide what it wanted to be. It wasn't funny enough to work as a comedy and not sharp enough to function as satire. The film eventually crawled to $6.3 million worldwide, with almost no international release. 2 flops in a row within 3 months suddenly made Hollywood's Glen Powell is a movie star theory look very questionable. Good luck, have fun, don't die. Budget $20 million. Box office $7 million. Estimated loss $40 million. Director Gore Verbinski, famous for launching the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, returned to filmmaking after a decade with a bizarre sci-fi concept. The film follows a man from a dystopian future who arrives at a diner in Los Angeles and recruits random unhappy customers to help save the world from artificial intelligence. The project had a strange development history. It began 8 years earlier as a 26-page TV pilot pilot called Don't Trust Anyone Under 30. Multiple filmmakers tried to adapt it before Verbinski joined the project and pushed it toward becoming a feature film. To their credit, the marketing campaign was genuinely creative. The studio flew a plane over Silicon Valley carrying a banner that read "Hire Human Beings." They also gave away 2,000 free movie tickets to people who had lost jobs to AI automation. Despite positive word of mouth and strong performances from Sam Rockwell, the film simply never reached a large audience. Without a significant international rollout, it ended its theatrical run with just $7 million worldwide. A movie that people actually liked still ended up losing money. Dracula. Budget $52 million. Box office $41 million. Estimated loss $60 million. Director Luc Besson, known for films like The Fifth Element and Lucy, attempted his own version of the Dracula story. But instead of making a horror movie, Besson decided to turn it into a tragic romance. In interviews, he even admitted that he isn't a fan of horror movies and isn't particularly interested in Dracula as a character.
No, I don't care about the myth of Dracula or a horror film. It's not a horror film at all. It's a man who waited 400 years because he wants to see his wife again.
That creative direction confused audiences. The film first released in France in July 2025, but didn't reach North American theaters until 6 months later. By the time it finally arrived in the US, most of the hype had already disappeared. The gothic fantasy space was already crowded, especially with Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein dominating attention. Even a supporting performance from Christoph Waltz couldn't save the film. It ended with $41 million worldwide, far below what was needed to cover production and marketing costs. Despite being a financial disappointment, it still became the biggest French film success in the US since 2017. But that wasn't enough to stop the losses. Psycho Killer. Budget $10 million. Box office $2 million. Estimated loss $7 million. When audiences heard that Andrew Kevin Walker, the writer of Seven, was returning to the thriller genre with a new project called Psycho Killer, expectations were high. Walker helped write some of the most iconic thrillers ever made, including Seven, Fight Club, and The Game. But something clearly went wrong. The movie was actually filmed 3 years earlier, and Studio 20th Century Studios quietly buried it. When the film was finally released in February, the studio barely marketed it and didn't even screen it for critics beforehand. That was a huge red flag. Reviews were brutal. The movie debuted with 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and critics tore it apart. Some called it boring, poorly written, and filled with plot holes, while others complained about bad CGI and generic storytelling. It opened with just $250,000 on its first day, eventually reaching $2.4 million domestically. Even with a relatively small budget under $10 million, the film still failed to recover its costs. For the writer behind one of the greatest thrillers ever made, Psycho Killer was a shocking misfire. Dreams. Budget $3 million. Box office $340,000. Estimated loss $3 million. Finally, we have Dreams, a drama directed by Mexican filmmaker Michel Franco and starring Jessica Chastain. The film premiered at the Berlin Film Festival in 2025, but failed to win any awards. Even worse, it struggled for months to find a distributor. Eventually, Greenwich Entertainment picked it up, but the release strategy was extremely limited. The movie didn't reach theaters until nearly a year after its festival premiere, killing any potential buzz. The film tells the story of a woman who falls in love with an undocumented immigrant, continuing Franco's pattern of making slow, introspective dramas. But these kinds of adult dramas simply don't perform well at the box office anymore. Despite Chastain's star power, the movie earned only $340,000 worldwide. With a $3 million budget, it was always going to struggle financially. Director Michel Franco has openly said he has no interest in working within the Hollywood system because it would limit his creative freedom. And while that approach allows him to make the films he wants, it also means movies like Dreams are almost guaranteed to fail commercially. That's 9 minutes. Thank you for watching. Like the video and don't forget to subscribe for more flops.